So what better way that we can do as promoters and organizers is to create an experience for them to make them feel like they're not actually in KL, that they're overseas or in a whole other world.
Hey Zouk family, welcome back to another mic drop with a regional hero. This one's coming out of Singapore and KL, a double team from two close friends who are within the industry but in different ways. Karla's one of the most prominent event promoters and organizers out of Malaysia, has done many big DJ shows in Kuala Lumpur, and her good friend Gabriella, or Riella as her DJ name is coming to us out of Singapore. But first, Karla, how have you been? What have you been doing during lockdown? Now it's loosening up.
I've been good. I've been trying to meet more friends now that we can actually meet people, trying to get back into the swing of things with work and everything. So yeah, just been doing all that. Waiting for, clubs to open, of course.
We might sadly be waiting for a while. What about you, Gabriella? What have you been doing during the lockdown period in Singapore?
Well, during the lockdown, a lot. So yeah, DJing is one of them, live streaming online, started baking, bit of podcasting and cooking as well. So started everything. So now that we've kind of loosened up the rules, been playing for house parties with friends. And yeah, that's about it.
It's a bit of a disappointment because you say you've been baking, but we've not received any packages in Genting. I don't understand.
Next time I'll bring you some. I make a mean tiramisu.
Okay, that. If I heard that live, there is no way she can come back on that now. So, but going back to the topic of discussion, let's talk about the industry. And Karla, you're a perfect person for us to approach. We spoke to your partner earlier in the lockdown. He had a great chat with myself and Ron Nicoli.
Yes, I saw that.
You've been a leading events organizer in KL for some time. Tell me, your accent is not your typical Malaysian accent. So you have a background to tell us about. How did you end up in Kuala Lumpur and how did you end up getting into shows in the first place?
Yeah, well, my accent's like a Rajah accent. It's a bit of everywhere. But basically, long story short, was that I've always been more of a party goer, going to festivals and clubs and just enjoying music on the dance floor. And when I moved here, I think 4 or 5 years ago, I believe, I was just feeling very homesick and I really missed, I forgot to mention, I came from Melbourne. So when I was here, I was feeling very homesick. I was like, I really missed the whole Australian clubbing culture and community. And like, even with the race and everything, they have the greatest community there. And Melbourne's still one of my favorite places to party at. So I was really missing it here. And I just woke up one day. I was like, I should try starting my own kind of event. And I had this whole idea of wanting to do like a whole warehouse rave party, bringing back to basics where you don't have to do so much production. It's more just like, let the music speak kind of thing. And because I was new here, I didn't know how to get about doing it, which was where I asked one of my friends and he directed me to Adam and was like, look, we'll just all go out for drinks and, tell him what you have as an idea and see where it goes from there. So that was how Plural started. And so myself and Adam, we've been doing like boutique events and marketing for nightlife industry, mainly focused on music, trance, house, techno kind of thing. So yeah, that's how it all got started. And we've been strong for about 4 years now. And yeah.
And who was your first artist that you booked?
Ooh, I remember our first show together was Super 8 and Tab. That was when I was still young and full of inspiration. I was just like, yes, I want to do this. So that was the start of it all. DJ I booked first time I think it might have been Cold Blue at Gyro. I think that was the first artist I booked from the start to the end. And yeah, that was a very fun night.
It's criminal that you're saying when you were young, especially when you talk to an uncle. Like, it's not, so
back in the heyday.
So Super 8 and Tab, obviously a great trance artist, big fan, but you've looked after many other artists over the years. Give us some of your highlight shows. I know you're close with John 00 Fleming, Solar Stone. So give us some of the best shows that you've curated over the last 3 or 4 years.
Some of the best ones we've had was probably, I remember Solar Stone because he was, I think, the first DJ we brought in that did a long set that was over 90 minutes. I believe, I might be wrong, it was either him or John. So those were it was my first experience in 2 long sets with them, which is why I find it so memorable. And that led to the road of me enjoying longer sets than shorter 60-minute kind of sets. Another one was probably Open Up KL. That was 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. And so we had the whole 7 crew here, which was John, not whole, but like a few of them, Alexander, Di Stefano, and Greg Downey. And that was like an amazing show. We had projection mapping and, the usual stuff, but the projection mapping was amazing.
Yeah, it's fantastic. There's a good lineup you have there. And obviously, I know from working with you guys very closely, Plural were involved in the launch of Fuhu, Zouk Live. You guys have many strings to your bow. I mean, for Zouk Live, you helped us source a full-on dance entourage that included at least 50 dancers, huge showpiece. They got about 300 people involved in an interactive dance class, which was really special. And I want to bring you on to another massive event that you've been involved with that I was lucky enough to be a moderator for. And we were hoping to host in Zougenting this year, which we didn't get a chance because COVID ruined it. But now we're looking at hosting it next year, which was Wired Music Week. Tell us a bit more about Wired.
So Wired Music Week is basically, the way I describe it is like it's Southeast Asia's ADE, basically. So because we couldn't do it on the ground this year, we did it on a virtual platform for it to happen. So because of that, we were fortunate enough to not have to deal with flights and all that stuff. So we could get a lot more heavy-hitting speakers on board to speak during that panel, which is what you did. You were on one of the very big panels, I think on the previous one. But basically, it's just a gathering of all the bookers, agents, artists, even fans to just come down, get some insight on the trends of where the industry is going, and also to kind of network with everyone as well for opportunities. So yeah, that's basically what Wired Music Week is.
I found it hugely useful because I believe it's the largest electronic music festival in Asia. And what's fantastic about it is you pull in speakers from around the world. On my panel was the team from Awakenings. We had people who had worked with ADE. There's a lot of big players that join there. I know Adam's got a huge network, John also. And it was fantastic to play a part in that. Lastly, I want to pick your brains. 2021 is when you hope clubs will be reopened. It's when I actually think they will. What artists would you recommend people keep an eye out for in 2021?
Oh, that's a bit difficult because I think once 2021 comes around, I have a feeling, like it's been mentioned again during our Wired Music Week panels, is that this is like a reset button. So I have a feeling when 2021 comes around, it's going to change the game of how clubs and festivals are going to do their bookings. And I think right now, a large focus is going to be more on the local artists. Like, okay, instead of focusing on a DJ lineup now, we're going to be focusing more on what experience you can be giving to the party goers, especially in the current situation now where travel is still a bit iffy to some countries, like you can't do it. So what better way that we can do as promoters and organizers is to create an experience for them to make them feel like they're not actually in KL, that they're overseas or in a whole other world, which I think people will appreciate.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that whether it's a good thing or a bad thing that people are driven by recording everything that they do, the experience is 10 times more important than the show, which is sad for me because I remember when I first began, I went to Ushuaia, saw Swedish House Mafia. There were no camera phones. You just got to enjoy the show for what it was.
Yeah.
It was Rigston Academy, and your memory bank was literally up here. It wasn't the intro song of any DJ set is my favorite, but it's so disappointing when people don't absorb the full screen, the CO2 and everything else.
Exactly.
But
all you're doing is like you're just seeing the DJ decks through someone else's phone. I'm sure Gab can also agree, because we're both so short, we can't see the DJ decks, and we're like, all right, let's just look at it through someone's phone, and it'll be like, it's like we're right in front.
Yep, agree. Yeah, they're already blocking us without even having their phones like upright, so we really can't see.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly.
It means you need tall partners to help you. You can go on the shoulders, and then you get the front row.
Oh Lord, I might be terrified. I'll just fall over.
And I'm gonna let everyone into a secret. If Karla could pick any tall guy or any guy to sit on the shoulders on, it would be headhunters, which I know that firsthand.
Yeah.
It seems like a suitable point to give her a chance to let her blushing subside. So Gabriella, so we go from behind the scene to in front of the scene. So Gabriella, you've been DJing. I see your decks peeping behind you over your shoulder there. And I've been enjoying your mixes over this lockdown period. Perfect time for people to get their music out there. What inspired you to begin in the first place? As a regular party goer, what made you all of a sudden say, right, I want to start spinning myself?
Well, I think it's there's a lack of female DJs in the scene, and it's a stigma of female DJs, selling themselves more so than the music. That made me kind of think, well, if they can do it, I can do it too. And I'm always listening to music anyway, right? I've been partying, and now even during lockdown, I'm always listening to some people said. I guess the good thing about technology is like you said, maybe last time watching your Swedish House Mafia concert, there's no replay of that, but now I can watch it, right? I can continuously get new music, whether it's the older, getting to know the older type of music that I never got to listen when I was younger, and even the newer stuff as well. So it's adding on to my knowledge and of music, and thinking that I can actually put up a good mix myself. So why not do it? And I think Karla is an inspiration as well, right? I mean, she had an idea and she just went through with it. So I decided, why not? Let's try it.
So homing in onto the music itself, I believe that trance is the staple that you're most endeared to. What made you? Where does your love of trance come from?
It was, I think, the first trance music that I listened to was actually Tiesto when I was growing up. I think maybe back when I was in my teens, and I was drawn to it's very melodic. There's a lot of classical elements to it, and the genre is just expanding and getting bigger and bigger. And one of the things I like about trance music is that it's very emotional as well. And I think for someone like myself who's actually quite expressive, there's things that you can sort of feel by listening to trance music, right? It takes you to the depths of your feelings, and sometimes words are not enough to express that. And you can express that through music, and especially trance. So, that's why I love trance. Yeah.
It's a wonderful music. I mean, it's my favorite style of music. I can get lost in it, and the thing I love about it is there's such a wide scope. You can get harder stuff. Marcus Jules plays more of a harder end of trance, and then you get In Search of Sunrise, which is really melodic trance that you can listen to when you're on the beach or reading a book, etc. But I like the fact that you can drift away and use your imagination. And one of my favorites, a DJ that I'm proud enough to say that I'm relatively close to, Ferry, is now doing musical scores for films, because that classical element can be moved into a bigger offering than just spinning for people. So I totally agree with you on that. You touched on female DJs. We've spoken to a few female DJs from Malaysia, proud to have spoken to quite a few actually. Zouk feels a bit of a champion in the scene. A couple of our residents in Singapore, Che Molly, for instance, is a really successful female DJ out of Singapore. Who are your favorite female DJs, and who do you think has really opened the door for people to follow?
I think from the trance scene, there's Maria Healy. which is I feel like she's very underrated, but she produces great music, great sets as well. If you listen to her recent Luminosity set, she did an amazing job. It's very, dance floor bangers, and I love that. Also, I think, techno DJs, there's like a lot of them that are doing very well right now, like Charlotte DeWitt, Emily Lenz, Nina Kravis. I think also on the deep house side, Nora and Pure is amazing, and I love that she brings in that modern piano producing to modern electronic music, and I think she's great. Yeah.
Nora Pure is someone I just recently got to know about. Fantastic. You touched on a few good ones as well. I think that Charlotte DeWitt and Emily Lons really paved the way about 2 or 3 years ago. I remember at Zouk live in Singapore, going to watch Emily Lons, and there was only about a couple of hundred people there, but now she would be able to sell out stadiums. I mean, she sells out waiting.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I think some of the original OGs, if you will, from back in the day, like Ida Engberg, has been around as long as I've been in this industry, so 15 plus years, has been making great tracks from back then. And I totally think one thing you touched on earlier, which is fantastic, is if you have a love for the music, it definitely trumps the Paris Hiltons of this world who do feel but for the wrong reasons. And it's very disappointing from a music lover to see that that's bypassed by looks alone.
Can I just jump in?
Yeah, sure.
But at the same time, during like lockdown, you see, like I've been seeing quite a fair few female DJs actually starting to share their stream. It's like they feel safer that now they can do this, that they're going to do it, and they don't play like EDM kind of things. They do what they want to do, which I think is great. So I'm loving all these girls coming out. I'm like, you need more trans female DJs out and about. Too many techno female DJs.
It scopes across all the board. We had Queen T was one of the most popular sets we've done, and she plays hip hop. There's a lot of great. Idaho plays a great deep house set out of Malaysia as well.
Yeah, it does.
Huge following. So I think anyone who
wants like Lizzie and Rimka as well, who do really good progressive and house.
So there's a great scene, and it doesn't matter what style you want to play, as long as you get the opportunity to play, that's fantastic. And that's why we're really proud of what we're doing, to give everyone a chance to spin and play. So Riella, tell us about the set you've made for us. What can we look forward to during that mix?
Well, I always like to play a little bit of classic and fresh tunes as well. So I always play above and beyond stuff, so you're gonna hear a little bit of above and beyond. I think Anjuna is like one of my favorite labels. They're, their music is good, their artist is good, whatever they stand for, diversity. They're very progressive and advocating wellness as well. So definitely some music from Anjuna Beats. A little bit expect progression. So usually in my set I like to what I call take people on a journey. So it's gonna get progressively harder, from chill to like more dance floor bangers. So I expect that.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We played Genix. We had Genix to spin from Anjuna just before lockdown, and then I discovered there's a great female DJ that Above and Beyond have been representing quite well, called Korean. QRI.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Who I think really looks like Karla. She has the same look.
What?
And it's funny because
I think you're Anjuna DJ.
No, she's really good. And I've heard some of her older stuff, when she was producing like back in Tokyo. And she plays like this I think a bit of ambient music and merged with like deep electronic stuff. So I think she's really great. I think she's really underrated. I saw like her set from ABG.
Wants to watch out.
Yeah, ABG 350 in Prague. I think it was great. And also talking about doppelgangers, Joe, I think you look like Ida Engberg's husband, Adam Baker. Has anybody told you that before?
I've had Calvin Harris. I've had Mark Zuckerberg. I've had
Mark Zuckerberg. Yes.
Yes, I think a bit of everything.
Well, I'll take the Adam Bayer connection. That's a good.
He's gonna add that to his list now.
To the long list that we have. But guys, thanks so much for taking the time for fun.
Yeah.
Can't wait to link up in person. It's been too long, and can't wait for the mix. Always enjoy a great trance track. I've had a sneak peek and it's awesome, so I would recommend any trance fan to listen to it. And it starts perfectly, so hits the ground running from the word go. And I sent it to some friends who didn't know who Riella was, and they were big fans already, so definitely check it out. Karla, thanks so much for your time. Send our love to Adam and John.
Thank you.
Safe in Singapore, and we can't wait to welcome you both to Genting soon.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Be back on the dance floor.
Yeah, me too.
Fingers crossed. Take care,
Thanks for
guys.
having us.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.